I'm John Lesky, recently retired personal financial advisor and founder of FinHealth, a tool to guide you to your financial independence. This is the fourth and final video in our series on asset allocation. In the previous video, we explained how we believe wealth accumulators, that is, those whose after-tax business or employment earnings exceed their lifestyle spending, should measure their current asset allocation. It requires them to estimate their expected future savings or future capital to add to their net investment wealth, to calculate a measure of total projected lifetime investment wealth. This future capital is regarded as a component of defensive asset holdings, with the upshot being that those with many years of expected accumulation ahead of them may be considerably underweight growth assets compared with their target growth asset allocation. In the previous video, we looked at the Barber family's situation with a current growth allocation of 42% compared with a target at Peter's age 65 of 60%. The FinHealth software's growth asset allocation ratio chart, shown on the screen now, shows just one of an infinite number of paths the Barbers could take to move from their current growth asset allocation ratio to their 60% target over the next 19 years. This transition path shown is driven by the hard-coded assumptions built into the modelling, rather than a carefully crafted investment strategy. Most people don't have a well-considered investment strategy. In the rest of this video, we examine a couple of default strategies that wealth accumulators commonly use in terms of the framework that underpins the FinHealth approach. We also suggest what we consider a better alternative. The first strategy is often considered conservative, what we will call the defer GAR strategy, with GAR, G-W-A-R, an abbreviation for growth asset allocation ratio. The strategy involves no serious attempt to build growth exposure until all borrowings have been paid off. All savings are directed to repaying outstanding debt. In the Barber's case, this strategy results in all debt retired by Peter's age 57, compared with age 59 for the hard-coded assumptions built into the FinHealth personal finance software. But, as revealed by the dashed blue line on the chart shown on the screen now, which is the path of the growth asset allocation ratio for this strategy, the Barber's allocation to growth assets is lower than for the standard model assumptions, the model GAR strategy, for an extended period. It highlights that the Barber's decision to focus initially on repaying their mortgage means that the time available to achieve the growth asset allocation target is compressed. And there is the possibility that during the period that future capital is solely directed to repaying debt, the price of growth assets may increase substantially, implying that future growth exposure will be more expensive to acquire. Of course, the prices of growth assets could fall or stay the same. The second default strategy is considered more aggressive. It involves borrowing a large amount of funds, compared with current investment wealth, as soon as there is sufficient equity in or ownership of the family home. The funds are then invested in growth assets. The strategy, the Accelerate GAR strategy, is often driven by a desire to reduce tax through negative gearing and accelerate wealth accumulation. As an example of this strategy, let's assume the Barbers immediately borrow $1 million and invest the funds in a portfolio of growth assets. Based on our projected lifetime wealth methodology, discussed in our previous video, this results in an immediate shift of $1 million from defensive assets to growth assets. The revised asset allocation is compared with the original asset allocation in the table on the screen now. In one step, the growth allocation increases from a below target 42% to an above target 88.7%. A revised path to the target growth asset allocation, the Accelerate GAR strategy, compared with the model and defer GAR strategies, is shown on the screen now. Borrowing and investing has pushed the Barber's growth exposure to 28.7% above their target asset allocation of 60%. This is well in excess of their self-assessed attitude to risk. This will prove a great strategy if the price of growth assets continues to rise over the next 19 years. However, if they fall, the Barbers have no capacity to take advantage of the lower prices, as all their future capital and some of their investment assets will be directed to repaying borrowings. Both strategies fail to effectively spread the risk of increasing growth exposure across time. The defer GAR strategy back-ends the increase in growth exposure, while the Accelerate GAR strategy brings it forward. They both implicitly and usually unwittingly take timing bets that add to the risk that less than desired long-term wealth outcomes will be achieved. The framework reveals that a lower risk strategy may be to spread the required increase or decrease in growth exposure. A smooth GAR strategy to reach your target evenly over the period between now and the time you wish your target to be achieved. It's represented by the dashed grey line on the chart on the screen now. For the Barbers, it implies increasing their growth allocation by about 0.95% of projected lifetime investment wealth each year for 19 years, spreading their growth bets as evenly as possible. Provided nothing changes, this implies that the Barbers should invest $20,350 of savings into growth assets in the next year. This amount is 0.95% of projected lifetime investment wealth of $2.14 million. This could be made from expected superannuation contributions. In practice, while deviations from this default strategy will always occur, the smooth GAR strategy provides a good benchmark against which you can compare your investment behaviour. A move above the dashed grey line indicates a deliberate bringing forward of growth exposure, while a move below the line is a deliberate deferral. Both alternatives may not best align with your attitude to risk. So that completes our series of asset allocation videos. Some key takeaways from the framework presented are: 1. There is only one target asset allocation. It's the one you feel you can live with when you have no or limited future earning capacity and need to rely primarily on your investment wealth to support your lifestyle. 2. For most people, your target growth exposure should be no greater than is consistent with your attitude to investment risk. 3. Borrowings are negative defensive assets that should be offset against cash and fixed interest holdings to calculate your defensive asset exposure. And 4. A measure of future capital should be explicitly taken into account as part of your investment wealth, both when determining your current asset allocation and deciding on an appropriate investment strategy to transition to your target asset allocation. The projected lifetime investment wealth framework, discussed in depth in the third video in the series, Calculating Your Current Asset Allocation, provides powerful insights into the consideration of a number of personal financial planning issues. Most importantly, it guides the development of an investment strategy that uniquely and explicitly links your lifestyle expectations to your desired level of long-term or lifetime investment risk. Without the benefit of such an integrated approach, most investment strategies are effectively flying blind, almost certainly involving greater or lesser investment risk over time than appreciated. I'd like to know what you think. Please provide any comments or questions below. Finally, thanks for watching.